Welcome, everybody. Breaking news for the Eden Army podcast. I love to wake up in the morning and find a narco terrorist in U.S. custody. These are always good things, right? These are always so there is breaking news, and we're trying to compile as much as we can. Obviously, I'm still working on everything. Let me hold on a second. And I've got so much other stuff. Nick Meacher, good to see you over there on Kick. Guys, we're primarily on Kick. We're actually on all the platforms right now, but we primarily go on kick.com. But I decided we'll just go ahead and do it all since this is breaking news and things are very fluid. We do have a press conference coming up, or President Trump will be speaking at 11 a.m. We'll broadcast that live. And give our opinions on that. So this raid, here's what we know. Here's what we know about everything. This morning, about 2 a.m. Venezuela time, U.S. forces with Delta Force, the FBI, the CIA, and Task Force 160 flying Black Hawk helicopters went into Caracas and went in to capture the illegitimate president of Venezuela, Maduro, and his wife. What we know is 2 service members were injured. The extent of their injuries as of right now are not known. And a Black Hawk helicopter took damage, but was able to make it back to the Iwo Jima. Now, this was all launched from the Iwo Jima, and Delta Force was on the ground for approximately 30 minutes. And I got stuff coming over on my printer, so hang tight real quick. Okay, cool. That's what we know right now. Let's see what else I got here. 30 minutes on the ground, and yeah, good to go. From what I understand, the CIA did track Maduro into his underground bunker, his safe room. He was unable to get there in time to shut the door, but of course our Delta Force operators were ready should he have locked himself in. From what I understand, Delta Force had made a mock-up of Maduro's compound already, and they knew very explicitly where and when he would move into his safe room, and they were able to get to him before he even made it. He gave up without incident, from what I understand, and that's all we know right now. We're eagerly awaiting Trump's 11 a.m. press conference. He was speaking already on Fox News this morning. This action was supposed to take place 4 days ago, but due to inclement weather, and it wasn't perfect weather, they pushed it back a couple of days. So then they were going to go 2 days ago. Again, they had some weather issues, so they decided this morning was the best time to go after it. I have heard reports that there was I can't substantiate this. I have heard reports that there was a Chinese delegation on the ground in Caracas when the operation took place. They were in their hotel room. They were there negotiating oil trade with the Venezuela government, as well as strategic cooperation with Venezuela. And so if that is true, they got to witness the full power of the United States Armed Forces in what Trump describes as a flawless operation, again, where only 2 servicemen were injured and a Black Hawk helicopter was damaged. So what does that mean? What does that mean for the rest of the world? Is the Ayatollah right now shaking in his boots? What about Cuba? What are they thinking right now? What are the Chinese thinking? Now, of course, we've already got the left side of the aisle saying this was an illegal operation. Stop. That's played out. Okay, I'll talk about this again, but let's just talk about this. Let's just say it. There was no declaration of war, so Trump was under no obligation to get Congress's approval. Just like, and you say, okay, well, Pete, but this was making war. This was making war with Venezuela. No, this is no different than going after Noriega, right? Maduro was indicted in 2020 as a narco-terrorist. Now, we'll go over his background while we're waiting for President Trump to take the stage. But this is no different. So there's legal precedence behind it. No declaration of war was made. This was an operation which has been done in the past legally. Noriega tried to go through the court process saying it was an illegal operation. No, that failed. Didn't work. Okay. So I'm sure Maduro will try the same process, and I'm sure he will fail in the courts again, just like Noriega did, who died in prison like a rat, like he should have. I think I see Russ right now in the green room. So let me get rid of this. Where did my other tab go, Russ? Let me bring Russ in real quick, guys. And then do that right there. Russ,
there we go.
Morning.
Good morning. Yeah, heck of a thing to wake up to, huh?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And of course, the UN right now is saying, they're just worried about the legality of a sovereign nation. Well, the UN's corrupt. We know they're corrupt. Now, watch now how the liberals now have become pro-narco terrorists. Right? They're pro-narcs now.
Yeah. Of course, they are. They're going to be. They don't have a leg to stand on. They've already, what is it? I looked it up earlier. The Kerr Frisbee doctrine. Is exactly what you were talking about that Noriega tried. But the thing is, we have not recognized Maduro as the legitimate president since 2019. Okay. And because of that, he cannot claim, he cannot claim immunity. He
can't claim immunity, and popular vote for the guy who was running against him was 70%. He brought 70% of the populace. He was a true illegitimate leader of that country, indicted in 2020, don't forget, right? Oh, so it's no different than what we've seen in the past in Panama and stuff like that. No different. And Battle Known, you're right, man. This looked like a clean operation. I cannot wait to hear the details of this operation. I am baffled by what our armed forces can do. Those Delta operators, I am baffled. I'm amazed. I'm proud to be an American to see a flex of strength and how professional these guys really are. Amazing, just amazing.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Russia, or you didn't mention Russia, but you mentioned Iran and Cuba, and there's other Latin American countries that are upset about all this. The only reason they're upset about all of it is because that's where they were getting their oil from.
Well, guys, 100%. This is where all the blacklisted oil was coming from. They were upset we were taking their tankers over. All right, that oil was funding the narco terrorism, by the way, that kills 300,000 Americans every year. More than the wars we've seen here in the past. And for some weird reason, we're able to turn a blind eye because it's not a war, right? It's just happening because some junkies are getting high and ODing on the streets. No, these are 300,000 Americans. So now you can see exactly where the left, what the left thinks of them, the American people. What they want to do now is, Trump bad, orange man bad. Forget about the 300,000 Americans that are dying every year.
Yep.
I saw on the news this morning that they estimate for every drug boat that Trump has blown up, saved 25,000 Americans. For everyone he blew from OD. And I've been on the front lines. I've seen the ODs. I've tried to Narcan people. I've seen it. We went at one time a month straight every day. We were going to an OD call. An overdose call. So look, guys, it's out there, and that's one small city in Florida. Imagine what's happening in the big cities. Imagine what's happening in San Francisco, in Portland. It's ridiculous. Go ahead, Russ.
So I have a question in regards to that month, because without HIPAA and all that thing, what was the demographic? Was it a certain demographic, or was it a wide range of demographics?
Wide range. And what we saw
exactly.
And it wasn't just the low class people. It wasn't the minority people. What we've seen a lot of during this, we went through a thing down here in Florida where they shut down what they called the pill mills, where you could go to a doctor and get your opiates. They shut that down probably about 10 years ago. Stopped the over-prescribing of opiates. So what happened? These people that were addicted to opiates now went to heroin, right? Because it's a synthetic opiate, right? And then they started lacing that with fentanyl. Large amount of that coming from South America. I don't have my phone with me, Battle Gnome. I'll grab it and take a look at it. But if you've got something to send it on Messenger, if you've got something immediate to tell me. But yeah, well, I woke up this morning, my phone was dead. Melissa came out and said, we just captured Maduro. And I said, what? So I expected this a week or two ago. I did not expect it. And you know what was great about this and what the difference is? There was no posturing by the United States saying, you've got 24 hours to stand down. What does that do? That gives them 24 hours to prepare their military, to prepare their troops, and to put in harm's way American assets, right? There was none of that. Look, Trump told him a while ago, look, these are your options, step down. He didn't do it. In the middle of the night while him and his wife are sleeping, we go in without any warning and capture him without an incident.
You know, and no media on the ground that gives it up like they did in Somalia.
Yeah, no time, right. No time for the media to go, no staging, none of that. It's immediately go in and attack and finish the operation. I'm watching right now a celebration in Doral, Florida, around some gas station. Actually, ironically enough, the Exxon gas station, where people are celebrating the capture of illegitimate President Maduro and his wife, who are now being flown to New York City to face federal charges on a number of things, including narco-terrorism.
And that's a good thing. The charges on him. Let's see, what do we got here? Narco-terrorism conspiracy, conspiracy to import cocaine into the U.S., use and possession of machine guns and destructive devices in furtherance of drug crimes, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices. 20 years to life on all of them. Hey, I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it. I'm okay. And people on the left right now is saying, well, I thought it was America first. I thought, why are we interfering in other countries? Guys, this is America first. 300,000 Americans are being killed by the illicit drugs coming over the border. What do you think Mexico's thinking right now, Russ? What do you think the Mexican president is thinking right now?
Well, what she's thinking and what she's saying are two different things. She's thinking, holy shit. Yeah. Okay, but that's not what she's saying. She's come out condemning it and that sort of stuff. I actually just saw that. I was scrolling through and I saw that. I'll try to find it and come back to it. Let's see. I literally just saw it. I had to look for it.
That's funny, Battle Gnome, that they struck Hugo Chavez's mausoleum. I hope that is true. I hope that is true. Yeah, and this Bill O'Reilly, I don't like him too much, Will. That is one option. Remember, this is the young lady that actually won the Nobel Peace Prize and then dedicated that to President Trump. So that's the one option. The other option is the guy who ran against Maduro in 2019 with 70% popular vote and somehow did not win the election. Imagine that.
Yeah. Sounds like 2018.
Sounds like
2020.
2020. When can we start arresting terrorist politicians? Sandwich, I don't know. I like your thought process, and it needs to happen. I will tell you right now, the GOP base, including myself, is expecting some arrest to happen, and they will lose their base if they do not start putting people in handcuffs. I promise the Trump or the MAGA movement that. Again, Again,
Absolutely.
like Mama Teresa says, the left side of the aisle is whining, so that they should have got congressional approval and that this was illegal. It's not illegal. We did not declare war. We went after a narco terrorist who was indicted in 2020 with past legal precedents. Okay, so just stop. It's not. That's played out, right? And let's talk about this guy. Let's talk about this guy a little bit. Remember a few weeks ago, Russ, I talked to you about how he had that secret meeting with Iran, with Hezbollah, with other terrorist organizations, where they wanted dominance. They wanted to dominate this side of the world using terrorists, right? Using terrorists to do that. Not only that, but remember now during the 2020 open border crisis that the Biden administration let in place, Maduro emptied out all of his prisons, emptied out all of his insane asylums, and sent them over that porous border. Not to mention, he purposely sent in Tren de Agua gangsters into our country, which was basically an invasion, right? Because these are his henchmen. This is the problem. These are his henchmen. Back in history, though, he was a member of funneling drugs into the FARC movement. I don't know if everybody even remembers that. What else did he do? What else?
Let's see. He provided political military protection for drug routes. Multi-ton shipments of FARC-produced cocaine. The FARC was removed, was on the terrorist watch list for years and years and years. They were really big into kidnapping in the 80s and early 90s, but they were I think it was 2013, and I'm not sure of that date, but they were removed during Obama's administration. They were removed off the list.
Yeah, imagine that. But yeah, I'm just watching the news feed. It looks like the attack was the beginning of the attack was strategic hits via cruise missiles and aircraft strikes. Reports are saying that Maduro immediately went on to declaring a state of emergency. But our Delta Force operators, I'm assuming it was Delta Force, this is what I'm hearing, our Delta Force operators were on the ground so fast he didn't have time to get from his bedroom to his safe room. Amazing. I cannot wait to read about the details. Now, unfortunately, it was Delta Force, so these guys won't talk, right? If this was Navy SEALs, they'd be talking like crazy. There'd be a book out next week about the attack, right?
And a miniseries the week after on Netflix.
Exactly. But these are Delta guys, and we're not going to hear shit.
My SEAL brother in, man, but it's funny.
No, I don't think. I think it's Will. I don't think it's about the resources. If it is about the resources, it's about the resources going to our enemies, right? That's what it would be about. I don't think we're looking to take their resources. Look, if the new president of Venezuela wants to strike a deal with the best deal maker in the world, probably to ever live, then that would be great for the American people. But I do not believe that this attack was prompted because of the resources.
Yeah. We just briefly talked about this a minute ago. I'm going to put this up on the screen. Corey nailed it. Congress did not know ahead of time, and you know what? No leaks.
Yeah, and this is what I was going to say also about the congressional approval. Get rid of the traitors in Congress, and then maybe they'd have a little more insight, even though they don't need to have the insight. Maybe they'll get a little bit of insight, but the problem is they want to know. And what does that do to our service members? That puts them in danger because these people cannot shut their mouth. They would rather see the operation fail and service members get killed than to have Trump succeed. That's what the left is. That's what the terroristic left is. Don't believe me? I don't care. It is what it is, and you know it's true.
Absolutely.
I'm just going through chat right now. As we're waiting 10 minutes, Trump is supposed to get in front of the cameras and talk about this operation, and maybe there'll be a little more insight on what actually took place. Trump was at Mar-a-Lago inside of a skiff when this took place. He said he watched it real time. via satellite feeds, and he was impressed by the professionalism of our service troops and how quick they were in and out with minimal injuries, as far as we know right now. So, wow, amazing! I cannot wait to hear about this operation. I can't wait to hear about it. Wow, and the fact that we did this on a world stage right now. Our enemies, Iran, has to be quaking right now. Iran right now is facing protests. And America has already said, if you crack down on those protests and you start killing people, we will go back into Iran. The Ayatollah right now has to be, look, I'm sure he took his goat off of him, set him aside, and said, holy shit, my wife, Mr. Trump's coming after me. Wow. Oh, crazy. Oh, we can get rid of that. What else we got? And what about, guys, we did, and that was the exact MO, right? Cuba and Argentina, or Venezuela rather, they're one and the same. Cuba, that's another regime that has to be shitting their pants right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they're only 90 miles away, so.
And allies, and look, if it was not for Maduro and his regime, Cuba would be in really bad shape right now. So it's interesting. Yeah, they're going to ask. Well, they are going to ask a bunch of stupid questions, and it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same thing we always expect. The left is saying that this was unconstitutional. Not just the left; it's the libertarians too that don't understand legal precedents. Right? They don't understand the rule of law. They don't understand the Constitution for the most part. This is not. Look, I'm going to say this right now. This is not a declaration of war. Was it a war act? Could be. Yeah, we bomb people. That's a war act. I get that. But it wasn't a declaration of war. It's very important. That terminology is very, very important when it comes to a legal aspect, Russ.
Oh, absolutely. And let me find my note here. Where's my note? There it is. Okay. I mentioned the Kerr-Frisbee doctrine earlier, and that's where this goes into play. Is a long-standing principle in U.S. criminal procedure that holds a court's jurisdiction over a criminal defendant is not impaired by the manner in which the defendant was brought before the court, even if it involves illegal or forcible abduction, period.
Yeah, look, again, we saw this already in Penn. Mm-hmm. We already saw this, and the scales of law were already tested. And they went through and gave. That's another alert. I'm just looking over here. They already said that what happened against Noriega was within the confines of the law. Mm-hmm. So there's no difference here, guys. There's no difference other than this was a way cleaner nab. This was a way cleaner nab. Amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Amazing. Wow. So, guys, again, I was not anticipating coming live today. Breaking news, it fired me up. And the fact that, I knew this was going to happen, but the fact that it happened so cleanly, that it happened so professionally, so far from the reports we're getting now, that kind of shit fires me up, man. I don't know what to tell you. To see the strength of our armed forces and what our men and women can do, it friggin' fires me up. And the fact that the rest of the world sees that now, peace through strength, right? That's what he says. Holy crap, man. Good God, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And, it's
a good question, Guy. Go ahead, Russ. I'll follow up on this question.
Ahead. You think back to the publicized Delta operations that we've seen in my lifetime. 1980 failed attempt over in Tehran. And then now this are the two that come to mind. I'm sure there were other ones, but I know that I think they were involved with the capture of Hussein as well. But it's good to see good press because we know people that were in that arena, those tier one guys. We know those guys, and it's a validation that what they've gone through in their training and what they've done up until now is validation. Yes, we are a kick-ass force.
Oh, we are, and not just from a boots on the ground standpoint, our technology,
Oh,
right? Of course, we shut the city down just like we did in Pakistan. They had no lights, they had no power. We shut them down. Now, how do we do that? Probably computer virus or whatever. But Guy, let's talk about what Guy says. What does it mean for us? Will there be attacks here? Guys, remember that Trump is playing 3D chess right now. He's been playing it from the day he took office. It's no accident that he was looking to deport the worst of the worst illegal immigrants, to going after them Tren de Agua terrorists that are on our soil. Now, are there some still here? Of course. Could there be attacks? Could be. There could be. But I will tell you that would be a mistake to pinpoint that. If the cartels were to do that, that would be a mistake, not just in Venezuela, but also in Mexico. All right, it would be game on. And we could see the same type of action happen in Mexico, with the difference is we would just be going after the cartel as opposed to going to the country's leadership, right? Let's see. I would say the vast majority, from what I'm seeing, Sandy, right now, the vast majority are that the people in the United States are here because they were leaving that regime and they are happy to see this happen. There's not many that think he's done no wrong, although I'm sure there are some plants that think that he was the legitimate president. But we would say the vast majority are people that were escaping that regime's brutality. So it could happen. There could be some problems, Sandy. That was a good point. Oh, what else we got pinned up here? Got that. And Skidmore says put him in Epstein's cell block.
yeah. And going back to what Sandy said, you had to think about the way we are in the U.S. today. You had to have your head on a swivel at all times anyway. Just in, target indicators, be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, well, getting back on your point, I did see video of that. I would say those would be secondary explosions. They probably hit a depot, so that could have been anything from a cruise missile to a JDAM. I would suspect that what I saw, the huge fireworks as you describe it, were secondary explosions.
Well, they hit. What did they hit? They hit the largest military complex, the Fuerte Tiuna. I can't speak Spanish. In Caracas, the La Carlota Air Base and anti-aircraft systems, which are Russian-made Buk launchers. They were destroyed as well. Well, Air Base. So if they hit those, that's probably secondary. I would agree with you. They're probably secondary explosions.
Yeah, I would say so. And this just brings back the news thing I saw where Maduro had all of his anti-aircraft things lined up on the beach, right? It says, we're ready for the United States. Look, there's nobody in the world right now that's ready for the United States. There's nobody in the world. And this proves it right here.
Yeah. So Pete, I know you've seen the movie Flight of the Intruder.
Mm-hmm.
That's what when Maduro had everything lined up, that's what that reminded me of. Was it a Sim City?
Right. Line
them up. But thank you, Sandy. Yeah. Okay, Bafanculo. I can speak Spanish. I can speak Italian.
They have to be informed within a certain amount of hours, Nick. That's 100% correct. They have to be informed as long as it's not a declaration of war. Look, the only people that can declare war is Congress. We understand that. This was not a declaration of war. Senator not senator anymore, Marco Rubio got on news just a second ago and said there are no expected there are no more attacks expected into Venezuela at this time. So there you go. This was a one-shot deal. Now there was a second wave of attacks staged offshore. Should Delta, a QRF, if you will, should Delta run into trouble? But apparently these boys and girls did not run into any trouble. And man, I just can't. I can't hide my admiration for our armed forces. I can't. I'm just geeking out how they were able to do this. Audio overlap. I don't have any right now.
No.
All right, we're eagerly awaiting President Trump to take the stage, and we'll air that. Here it comes, probably right now, if I had to guess. Let me go ahead and go to the news also.
Mar-a-Lago and Palm Beach, Florida, where President Donald Trump is set to address the nation moments from now. We will head to Mar-a-Lago when that happens. That's just across the water. The pool, the White House pool, getting ready to go in there for this news conference after
Guys, I can't turn that up anymore. Hopefully you can hear it.
Maduro and his wife. President Trump revealing the two are now en route to New York. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi vowing to bring the pair to justice over long-standing narco-terrorism charges, a detailed 2020 indictment in the Southern District of New York. We're all over the global reaction as Venezuelans and the world wake up to a whole new reality. We'll bring you the president and his team as soon as he speaks there from Mar-a-Lago, the Winter White House. First, let's get to Jackie Heinrich, live in the North Lawn of the White House with details on this strike. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning, Brett. President Trump revealed the Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro and his wife are on board the USS Iwo Jima, the amphibious assault ship heading back to New York, where they will stand trial on narco-terrorism charges, charges that date back to the previous administration. The president revealed that he offered Maduro several off-ramps to avoid this operation. They spoke as recently as a week ago, and after reaching no conclusion, the president authorized this operation, which was actually slated to happen 4 days ago, but it was delayed for better weather. The president said aside from some injuries to U.S. forces, which we are still awaiting details on, this was a massive success. There were no U.S. aircraft lost. And how this all was carried out, the extent of the injuries to U.S. forces, and what the president sees as the next steps for Venezuela are top of mind for him to answer in that 11 a.m. press conference, including whether the U.S. intends to throw its support behind the Venezuelan opposition leader, Machado, or if the sitting vice president potentially will come to some sort of an agreement with the U.S. Here was what he said this morning in an interview on Fox and Friends.
Are you going to fully support her to take over to run the country?
Well, we're going to have to look at it. Right now, they have a vice president, as you know. I mean, I don't know about what kind of an election that was, but, the election of Maduro was a disgrace. He had an election that was a rigged election. And the people have no love for him, that's for sure. He had very little loyalty, if any loyalty. He was a dictator. It was a tough cookie, and he ran it tough, and the people can't believe they got so lucky.
The president also indicated many of Maduro's allies have been turning on him since he was captured, and that he doesn't have a lot of support that President Trump believes will pose a problem for the future of Venezuela. Congressional leaders indicated they didn't get any advance notice, but the statements they've been putting out have framed this more as an extradition than a military operation aimed at effectuating regime change. House Speaker Mike Johnson said he spoke with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and War Secretary Pete Hegseth in the last several hours, said today's justified operation will save American lives, and, quote, Nicolas Maduro is responsible for the deaths of hundreds of thousands of Americans after years of trafficking illegal drugs and violent cartel members into our country, crimes for which he's been properly indicted in U.S. courts and an arrest warrant duly issued, and today he learned what accountability looks like. The Trump administration is working to schedule briefings for members of Congress when they return to Washington next week. And the Senate Majority Leader John Thune echoed that, saying for years, Nicolas Maduro, the cartel he leads, and other cartels in Latin America have trafficked drugs into the United States, which have killed hundreds of thousands of Americans. I spoke to Secretary Rubio early this morning, and I look forward to receiving further briefings from the administration on this operation as part of its comprehensive counter-narcotics strategy when the Senate returns to Washington next week. And the president warned several weeks ago the U.S. would be taking an aggressive anti-drug posture in the region. He told reporters in the Oval Office Colombian President Gustavo Petro had better wise up or he could be next. And President Trump was also asked this morning whether this operation could be seen as a prelude to action closer to home, potentially in Mexico, if it should be seen as a call to action or a warning to Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. He said no, the U.S. has a good relationship with her, but also said that she has rebuffed U.S. offers to take out cartels there, and something needs to happen. Brett.
You know, Jackie, we're looking live at the Tea Room at Mar-a-Lago, where the president has had news conferences previously when he had world leaders there, President Zelensky and the Israeli prime minister, getting ready.
All right, so that's basically what we know. So the big question now: who takes over? Does the vice president take over? Does somebody else be installed in that position? That's going to be a real question. The real concern is now is since they have such close ties to Islamic extremists, is that going to be a void, a lot like we saw in Iraq and in Syria? Is that going to become a void that's going to be filled with extremists? Could happen. It could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, this whole Epstein thing, I'm tired of hearing about it. If anything critical were to be in the Epstein files, again, I'm going to say this. Don't you think the retarded Biden administration would have let that out? Could give a shit less about Epstein. What's on the Epstein files, in my opinion, is going to be Bill Clinton and his involvement with it, and a lot of high-profile actors, businessmen, and stuff like that. In my opinion, don't care about the Epstein files, to be honest with you. I would like to see some people go to jail for it, obviously, but from a political aspect, I don't think we're going to see much being done about it. Let's see.
I think we were talking. I got an echo. Must be close to the screen. I think we're going to see some arrest coming in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be another thing to see how that all plays out with the Somalians in Minnesota. But, luckily, that one daycare was broken into and lost all of their files. Somehow Somalians are able to break in, cut the drywall from the inside to show an exterior break-in. Amazing. That's what happens when you have a 68 IQ score. Fucking retards. Oh, there goes Facebook. All right, we're still waiting, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pop this off real quick until something happens, and then we'll go live when Trump takes the stage. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, every time something important happens, like all the stuff going on in Minnesota and this, they immediately start talking about the Epstein files and why we're releasing this. Hey, look at this.
Like, that's the true distraction, right? That's the true distraction. You can't tell me that a populist with a 68 IQ was smart enough to come up with this scam to defraud taxpayers out of billions upon billions of dollars. No, and this is why guys, think about it. This is why Walz was nominated for vice president. This is why. Okay, because he brought immediately 24 hours after the press was told that he was going to be running as vice president, there was an influx of $32 million from his campaign into the Kamala Harris campaign. Stop. Yep. Come on. They're so corrupt.
And shit, I forgot what I was going to say.
I'm getting messages. Let me see what I got here. Press conference any minute. He's on the Iwo Jima. Yep, I know. I'm waiting on it, Scott. I'm waiting on it. It'll go live here. I got to type something real quick.
Yeah, I was gumming. My brain's not working. I'm going without nicotine. Teresa and I quit smoking on New Year's Eve.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, I'm still roguing it, but that's helping me not have a cigarette. So
yeah, that's.
Crap, I had some. I was going to say.
Yeah, New York. Well, that's a whole nother thing. We're going to talk about New York on Thursday night's podcast. Also, guys, Thursday night's podcast, I haven't put anything else out. Wes will be on Russ Thursday night. So we're going to talk about his upcoming class here in Daytona Beach, Florida. So Wes Hightower, Thursday night on the Eden Army podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern time.
And I hope the people got their tickets or for his class early, because they lost out on that 25%. It's over.
Yeah, it is, unfortunately, but don't let that hold you back. I will make something happen if that's the deal breaker.
Absolutely.
We're still waiting on President Trump to take stage in Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, for his press conference. Fashionably late, of course. He was supposed to go on at 11 a.m. It's now 11:10. Outstanding. So
Okay.
good, Tom. Look forward to seeing you, brother.
Okay, look up two above that. I started.
Okay.
Read it first.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we won't publicize that, although she did already. Our thought. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. Guys, just don't forget. There's a lot of people in our tribe that are going through stuff, and we need to keep them in our thoughts and prayers.
Absolutely.
And but we Miss Terry, we're if you need anything, sweetie, I got your back. I got your six, as they say, in the business.
Nick, I will have you know you will have, as it stands right now, 2 people testing in May. Teresa will be testing for her tech, and I'll be testing for my general. We have made a commitment to study an hour a day. So
very cool. I will not be attending any of Nick's classes. I will not be taking it. My testing days are over. I'll be honest with you.
You got your general. You got your general, though, don't you?
No, I just got tech.
You need to get your general. Maybe we can go HR.
I got all the equipment for it. I listen, but I don't. I just don't get on the air. Guys, I know there's a lot of dead air. I'm sorry. We're just trying to compile as much as we can right now and waiting.
Well, my Audible book has gone through the first of 4 checks.
Perfect.
So it's moving along. Looks like it'll probably, if everything works out right, it'll either be out Friday or Monday of next week.
Yeah, 10 business days. You can count on it.
Yeah, so that'll probably be Monday.
I know, guys. I know. And actually, I have kind of been studying. I study the same way I do on the tech, for the tech. I'm on the toilet. I'm on there taking some tests and doing all that stuff.
Well, next time my book, how's book 4 coming?
Book 4 is coming along swell. It won't be done by Mountain Readiness. I can't imagine it be done by Mountain Readiness, but it's going to be interesting, guys. It's going to be interesting.
I'm hoping
friends are made, friends are lost. That's all I'm saying about that.
Oh yeah, gotta happen.
Let's see. I'm just diving back and forth between the news, the chat, and 32 people in chat. That's pretty good, guys, for going on the last freaking second. Yeah. I actually gave a little notice. I gave like an hour notice. I woke up and put some stuff out, Russ.
Yep, I saw. I just happened to stop. We're packing, of course, getting ready to head out tomorrow, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I looked at Teresa and said, "I got to go get on the computer."
Yeah, Melissa said, "Did you call Russ?" I go, "No, he'll see it. He'll be in the green room before I even get there."
And it was.
Yeah, I got a good app that I'm looking at, guys, for the thing. Same one I use for my text. Yes, Scott, talk about Scott. I told you got a seat inside the green room whenever you want to come on the podcast. You have a lot to offer. So I don't know what's taking you so long, but get off your ass and do it. Nick said he's working on somebody for his Audible book still.
Mm-hmm. Somebody found somebody you like. That's good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, Chrissy, there's these things write themselves sometimes. Yeah, I'm waiting for the Audible, Nick. I'm an Audible guy.
Well, if he said 11, he won't be on until 11:30. We know how that was.
Exactly.
Well, there's a good. Will said he got a good bit of prepping done this week. We've been off for 2 weeks now almost. Mm-hmm. We've done a little bit of quasi prepping. We're prepping for a fifth wheel, and eventually, I'm curious to see how my little camper rides compared with the difference in the vehicles.
No, it'll be, you won't even know it's back there. Actually, it's not. It's going to be. We're just doing the hike. Will, we're not doing the get together. I haven't heard from. We're definitely not doing a get together here at my house. I promise you that. I'll get divorced if I do another get together. If Chris wants to have one on his property, I'd be happy to pay for it. But that's entirely up to Chris, and he's been wicked busy laying fiber optic cable and doing whatever he's doing over in Tennessee.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Will.
I'm banging on my damn microphone here like a retard.
Yeah, I did the same thing.
Like a rookie.
I know, right? We take 2 weeks off and everything goes to heck in a handbasket. Yeah, that's
no dates. It's going to be in February, Will. The hike is going to be in February, and I'm waiting for the coldest days in February. So that's going to be like a 1 or 2 week advance, if I had to guess. But it's going to be Friday, Saturday, come back Sunday, just like the last one. And guys, we're still waiting for the Orange Man to take the stage. And it looks like he's, well, I got some time yet.
On demand. Okay, Nick, that's interesting. But on demand hot water system. And you still haven't gotten yours back yet, right?
No, my RV is still, I gave them the go ahead to, once they gave me the price, to go ahead and start to work on it. Now they're waiting for parts and pieces from Red Group in Indiana.
Yeah.
Opie, I feel older already. I know I don't look a year older, but I certainly feel it. What bibs and jacket do you have? You talking about like coveralls, bibs? Is that what you're talking about? Because if you're asking about bibs, Carhartt is the way to go, in my opinion. And if you're talking about jackets, I'm going to say Carhartt also.
Yeah, or Duluth Trading Company makes some really good stuff as well. I got a bunch of Carhartt. Duluth is on my list of getting. So.
Did you like that movie? I enjoyed that movie, even though it was a book from Stephen King, which he's a flaming libtard. But I did enjoy that movie. I thought it was a good twist. Yeah. Kelly agrees with me. Carhartt all the way. Yeah, I like Carhartt, especially when it comes to jackets. I've got one of them big Carhartt jackets in the Northwoods, and that thing, I'm telling you, whew,
absolutely,
that is the cat's ass. There you go. Rev says Carhartt also. There you go. Overwhelmingly, the vote goes to Carhartt. I expect a sponsorship from Carhartt before this is said and done.
Yeah, it is heavy, Sandy, but it's heavy for a reason. It does its job.
Opie says he likes Liberty for the bibs.
Now, regular bibs, just regular bibbers, I rock Liberties. I have Liberties, I have regular Carhartts, but I have more Liberties than the others.
All right. Come on, Orange Man. Big old, he's going to. The only thing, let's make a bet. How many times is he going to say this is the biggest thing we've ever seen type of deal? There's nobody else that ever did this before. This is that drives me crazy.
That's a sucker bet, man.
I know. Jackets, bibs, pants, shirts, all Carhartt. Kelly's a Carhartt man in and through and through.
Yeah.
And then Will's got Liberty bibs. So.
Yeah, regular bibbers, yeah. Yeah, Nick says he's got a new Carhartt. Yeah, I'm in the same boat you are, Nick. A lot of the Carhartt stuff that I have is I just swim in now, because of the weight loss, and I've been able to keep off. So, and yeah, Rev, depending on the weight of your bibbers, if you got like the Carhartt heavyweight bibbers, it takes forever for them to get broken in to be nice and soft.
I think we'd end up hammerjacked bullshit I think
Hammered, absolutely hammered.
I'd end up slurring more than I do during my normal rants. 11:20 now. Mar-a-Lago, still nothing.
Calling
the Orange Man.
He's usually about a half an hour late.
Yeah. So, guys, just to recap, the reason we went live today, of course, the United States conducted an operation inside Venezuela to capture Nicolas Maduro. They captured him and his wife. As far as we know now, Delta Force operators were involved. The 160th Task Force Wing were flying Black Hawk helicopters and who knows what else.
Yep.
The CIA was involved and the FBI were involved. Delta Force was on the ground for approximately 30 minutes, from what we understand. Might have been a little bit longer because they had 2 personnel that were injured during the attack. We don't know the extent of their injuries, but they are alive and back on the Iwo Jima. Nicolas Maduro and his wife are en route as we speak to New York City to face charges on narco-terrorism and other things involved with that, including, which I don't understand, this particular warrant they had on him for possessing a machine gun. I don't mean, it's his country. I'm pretty sure he can possess a machine, but I'm not sure about.
Well, they're saying machine guns and using them to help facilitate drug running.
Gotcha. Well, there you go. And guys, this is an indictment from 2020. This is not new, right? The only reason this guy hasn't been picked up already is because the Biden administration was weak, and of course, anything to stop the drug pipeline into the United States, killing American citizens, would be taboo, apparently, against leftists. So, who knows? What else we got? Tom Bryce is very generous, Kelly says.
Yep. He set up earlier, he's bringing a few blanket-lined Carhartt jackets down that he has extra. He's cleaning out his swag inventory from his employees.
Still waiting, guys, for the Orange Man. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Call it dead air.
Yeah, I looked. I did a little quick search. They're just saying the injuries look minor, non-life threatening. Possibly small arms fire, shrapnel, or bumps and bruises, sprained ankle, something like that.
And it could be that they were on that Black Hawk that took fire too. Guys, we went into another country, spent 30 minutes on the ground, captured their leader, brought him offshore, and I'm already sending him back to New York City to face charges for killing American people. What other nation in the world could conduct an operation like that? I don't think the Israelis could do that, as talented as they are. What a textbook operation. God, I hope we get more details on what these boys and girls did. Good God, it's fascinating to me. And if it's true that the Chinese delegation was on the ground in their hotel room at the time of the operation, holy crap. Oh, look, Chinese, you're going to have to, I bet your eyes were open then, right? No squinting eyes there. I bet they were wide ass open when you heard the bombs drop. The Cuban president, what are you thinking right now? The Ayatollah, what are you thinking right now? Well, you better get in your bunker and wait this thing out. And Trump already he met with Netanyahu and already gave the go-ahead if Israel wants to go after the Ayatollah and look for a regime change in there, that he would not hold them back. So this could be an interesting week. Also need a chest rig to carry your G23.
Yep. Teresa and I went through our bug out bags yesterday, and they're down to 17 and a half, 18 and a half pounds now. We kind of rearranged some things. So,
well, you should be ready then to take the walk in February.
Well, the question is if we have the physical stamina to do it. Oh, there you go, bullshit. Ran 3/4 inch pecs for his new water lines for his pig pens.
Yeah, guys, just because we haven't been on the air doesn't mean you're immune to the prep of the week. That's a lifestyle, right? So good. I'm glad to see you guys are still prepping. I would,
Yeah.
I can relate to this comment right here.
Yes, you
honestly,
can.
and most men probably can.
Absolutely.
How do you think I get most of my topics for the podcast?
Yeah. You're done when your legs go numb.
Yeah, exactly. Then it takes you another half hour to walk out without falling.
Yeah, you wake up, you're like, walking like a 2-year-old.
11:25 Eastern Time, Mar-a-Lago is prepped and primed, ready for the Orange Man to take the stage, and it is not happening yet. So as soon as he starts to come on, guys, we'll air that live. Oh, looks like they're doing something, Russ. Looks like they're doing something. They went to the big screen. I'm going to go ahead and pop this up real quick. And then go here. See what
Point B is really the tough one. It's the harder part.
It is the harder part. And Maria Corina
And
Machado,
just like that,
who
they're not on
obviously
the
won
big
the
screen
Nobel Peace
anymore.
Prize for being the voice, the face.
Come on. Was he a prom queen? He's going to wait till the last one. Just get on. Be prompt, right? If you're not 15 minutes early, Trump, you're late, buffoon. Friggin' waiting. I went on at 10:30 thinking this was going to be 11 o'clock prompt. Look, I've been on almost an hour already waiting on this friggin' buffoon. Get on the stage. Trump just posted a picture of Maduro in custody. Let me see if I can find that. We'll throw it up. Let me get this off because I don't want you guys to see what else I got running back there. I have no patience.
No.
Let's go to Truth Social real quick. See if I can't pull that up. I don't want that. I don't care about your cookies. I love it. Let me put that up. And this is the narco king in all of his glory right now. You can't hear what they're talking about. You can't look at our Delta operators, you bum. There you go.
Yeah, there's a couple of them AI generated. I'm looking at different ones.
That's from Trump. Truth Social, Trump. That's what I usually go to.
Yeah.
If I want something like that. The only time he really uses AI is when he's dropping poop on Democrats.
Yeah, and some of the recent ones have been absolutely hilarious. Did you see the one with Waltz and what's his name, Pitts or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
In the hijabs, and they uncovered him, and there was money all underneath it.
Yeah, I agree, Nick. He's probably trying to get everything squared away.
Okay, Christy, there's a difference between celebratory fire and a fire. Just saying.
Well, come over. We can do fire tonight. Christy, I got nothing going on.
Yeah, because when I was over in Iraq, that was when the Iraqi soccer team was doing so well during the Olympics, the 04 Olympics, and they go out and shoot celebratory fire up in the air with the AKs, and so we all had to wear helmets. 24/7.
What goes up will come down eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Still, guys, sorry, I'm waiting on the Orange Man to take the stage. If Russ is right, we got 1 minute, but I don't know. It's almost 11:30.
Yeah.
Let's see what he has to say about his life. And you know what I liked about this? And I was talking to Melissa about it. There was no 24-hour notice. There was no, you've got 24 hours to step down. No, it's he told him weeks ago, turn yourself in. Okay, you're not going to do it. FAFO. There you go. Boom. And what that did, guys, like I said earlier, what that did is that keeps our troops safe, right? He didn't have time to prepare. They caught him while he was sleeping. I love it. It's playing 3D chess. Oh, I bet the
Absolutely.
left is fuming right now. I bet they're losing their damn minds. Another Trump victory. Another America first victory. America victory. I bet they hate that. Yep, you gotta get out there, brother. You gotta get out and do your thing. Yeah, whatever, Will. You know the address.
Yeah, we had a little rain today. It's kind of holding me back from finishing packing the back of the truck, but I'll get it packed today. You know, there's a lot of different pictures of how Venezuela is reacting to this, but you can't never tell whether you can't hardly tell what's what anymore, whether it's AI or an older picture. You know, I saw one earlier and they said it was from the World Cup, you know.
I agree, Sandy. And we're going to talk about this friggin' buffoon on the podcast on Thursday night also. And some of his EOs that he's already taken and some of the things he's doing there. How quickly we forget 9/11, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just say that. How quickly we friggin' forget.
And in 3, 2, 1, Judge James Busselberg will rule Trump must return Maduro to Venezuela.
Right? Oh, come on. You. Oh, what is this new little icon? Let me see what this does. Let's do some new thing I see here on the Restream.
The other thing I noticed on Restream,
What do you notice?
on Restream over there, if you close off your chat and everything, you can change before you go live. You can actually have vertical and horizontal and vertical feed, and you can say, like, if we stream to Instagram.
Oh yeah. The ratio. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for the TikTokers.
Yeah, and TikTok, that's pretty cool. I haven't been on lately.
Well, unfortunately, I've faced another restriction from TikTok. Apparently, they're still hung up on me. People calling people retards. Look, our president called Tim Walz. I can call people retards. TikTok. Our president did it to Tim Walz. It's in vogue.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's see. They're already there. Will New York's already California, just with a smaller budget so far.
You know, I can't understand. I mean, back when I was a kid, you know, yes, that was 100 years ago, but you know, yeah, you got your feeling hurts. Suck it up, Buttercup. You know.
I would never I would never had that conversation with my parents. Oh, this guy hurt my feelings. This girl hurt my feelings. I never had that, and it was never a conversation.
No, my old man would have smacked the crap out of me.
Me, I'm whooping that ass. You know, I did my job.
There you go, Will.
I still haven't figured out how to put that on there yet.
Me, I'm whooping that ass. You know, I did my job.
That's what them Delta boys are saying right now.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm whooping that ass. You know, I did my job.
What else do I got on here, Will? Just to kill time for you, brother. I got nothing on one.
But if Clemenza can figure a way to have a weapon planted there for, then I'll kill them both.
There you go. Michael Corleone, getting ready to do business.
Yeah, that might get us kicked out.
But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again.
There you go. Let's change family to tribe.
Mm-hmm.
But don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again.
I don't know what the hell he's doing. I wish he'd get on here. I had a good one. What news feed right now? I'm just live on Fox. Anything that comes out of the White House, though, I like to go to Truth Social about that, because usually that comes right from Trump. And then I like that America Only News too. I like that. I did not see that, Opie. I can't imagine that would fly with our governor. So
I saw that yesterday.
yeah, well, sorry guys. I'm gonna hurt your feelings. I don't give a shit. It's happening. Yeah, unfortunately, we've had a few of those. I don't know. We've had a few of them that got exiled off the island.
Yep. Don't throw me, bro.
To what's just one? I wasn't even thinking of him, but yeah.
You know,
still waiting on the Orange Man, guys. Sorry.
I've been looking at some of the news from what's it, Drop Point? That's the one that Egghead was mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
And, surprisingly, they are silent today.
Let's go over to X real quick and see what we can pull. I wonder where Patrick Seven's at. I'm surprised he's not
Yeah, he may be working.
yakking it up. Yeah, you're probably right. Here's a live footage of the Maduro capture. Let me go ahead and put that on. This is after, of course. A picture of Maduro. Clearly, that's AI generated, ladies and gentlemen.
Corey, I just saw your message. I got to redo that account.
I love that.
So you did like recipe yesterday?
No. Oh, he's on the phone here. Let's see what he's got to say.
A different type of helicopters, different type of fighter jets. We had a fighter jet
This was
for
from earlier,
every
guys.
possible situation. And they just broke in, and they broke into places that were not really able to be broke into. You know, with steel doors that were put there for just this reason, and they got taken out in a matter of seconds.
That's the president on Fox and Friends as we look live at Mar-a-Lago. Minutes away from that, I want to go quickly now to Doral, Florida. Fox Noticias' Andrea Linares is talking to Venezuelans in that community down there. Andrea, what are you hearing?
That's right, Brett. Good morning. And we have been here all morning speaking to the Venezuelan community. Just to give you an idea, I'm in Doral in South Florida, just standing outside El Arepaso. It's a very famous hotspot, a restaurant where Venezuelans typically gather. They have been chanting, singing all morning long, saying Venezuela Libertad, which means liberty. They're calling this a Liberation Day. Some of them just raising their Venezuelan flags, others wearing MAGA hats and taking advantage of this opportunity to thank President Trump and the administrations for their efforts in Venezuela and the region. Now, look, Brett, I am from South Florida. I was born and raised here, been living here my whole life, and I had the opportunity to speak to many in this community. And what's very interesting is we're not just seeing Venezuelans here celebrating. We are also seeing people from other communities.
And we go.
Interrupt you, Andrea. Thank you. Thank you. Let's listen in to President Donald J. Trump at Mar-a-Lago, the Winter White House, about the operation overnight.
Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault. And it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer. All perfectly executed and done.
That's what I named my honeymoon,
No
by the way.
nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark, and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, it's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, we're just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious, because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We've had decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually. This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans, the many, many Americans. Hundreds of thousands over the years of Americans died because of him. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil. Right now, they're on a ship they'll be heading to, ultimately, New York. And then a decision will be made, I assume, between New York and Miami or Florida. But we have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place. For many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. And you all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over in particular the United States, Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang Tren de Aragua, to terrorize American communities nationwide. And he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers off people if they called police. They were brutal. But they're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate our military, Pete and everybody, and our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have no crime in Washington, D.C. We haven't had a killing. We had the terrorist attack a few weeks ago. little bit of a different kind of a threat. But we haven't had a killing in a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have 2, on average 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore. The restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They're going, they're walking their daughters, they're walking their children, their wives. They walk to restaurants. Restaurants are opening all over Washington, D.C. So I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank our military. And I want to thank law enforcement. Been amazing. And they should do it with more cities. We're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now, and crime is down. We've just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%. And the governor of Louisiana called, great person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know, in a certain very nice part of Louisiana. And we have done that. And it was a rough section, and we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after 2.5 weeks. New Orleans, it's down to almost nothing, and we've only been there for 2.5 weeks. Can't imagine why governors wouldn't want us to help. We also helped, as you know, in Chicago, and crime went down a little bit there. We did a very small help because we had no working ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster, and the mayor was a disaster, but it knocked down crime. But we're pulling out of there. When they need us, we'll know. You'll know. You'll be writing about it. And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early on, where the head of the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. That's long after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We don't need the credit. But we'll be pulling out when they need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back. But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it from being a crime-ridden mess to being one of the safest cities in the country. But the gangs that they sent raped, tortured, and murdered American women and children. They were in all of the cities I mentioned, Tren de Aragua. And they were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people, and now Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody from Venezuela. There will no longer be threats. For years I've highlighted the stories of those innocent Americans whose lives were so heartlessly robbed by this Venezuelan terrorist organization. Really one of the worst. One of the worst, they say the worst. Americans like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungary, what happened to her? They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Tren de Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. It was a bridge that will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives. And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions. They sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers. They were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States, but no longer. And we have now a border where nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized and stole American oil, American assets, and American platforms, costing us billions and billions of dollars. They did this a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything about it. They took all of our property. It was our property. We built it. And we never had a president that decided to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away. We built Venezuela oil industry with American talent, drive, and skill, and the socialist regime stole it from us during those previous administrations, and they stole it through force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country, considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, and we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it. America will never allow foreign powers to rob our people or drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did. Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region and acquiring menacing offensive weapons that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they used those weapons last night. Potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy, dating back more than 2 centuries, and not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines, and the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot, by a real lot. They now call it the Monroe Document. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. Won't happen. So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way in our home region. And our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago. The future will be, and we did this in my first term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now. Everyone's coming back to us. The future will be determined by the ability to protect commerce and territory and resources that are core to national security. These are core to our national security. Just like tariffs are, they've made our country rich, and they've made our national security strong, stronger than ever before. But these are the iron laws that have always determined global power. And we're going to keep it that way. We will secure our borders. We will stop the terrorists. We will crash the cartels, and we will defend our citizens against all threats, foreign and domestic. Other presidents may have lacked the courage or whatever to defend America, but I will never allow terrorists and criminals to operate with impunity against the United States. This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone who would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American Armada remains poised in position, and the United States retains all military options until United States demands have been fully met and fully satisfied. All political and military figures in Venezuela should understand what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if they aren't just, fair, even to their people. The dictator and terrorist Maduro is finally gone, and Venezuela people are free. They're free again. It's been a long time for them, but they're free. America is a safer nation this morning. It's a prouder nation this morning because it didn't allow this horrible person and this country that was doing very bad things to us. It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western Hemisphere is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raisin Kane. He's a fantastic man. I've worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't respect. I worked with some that just weren't good. But this guy is fantastic. I watched last night one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask us to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, can you explain how the U.S. will run Venezuela?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Finally, a commander-in-chief the world respects and the American people deserve. And as the President said, words can barely capture the bravery and the power and the precision of this historic operation. A massive joint military and law enforcement raid flawlessly executed by the greatest Americans our country has to offer. American warriors are second to none, the best in the world and the best of our country. What all of us witnessed last night was sheer guts and grit, gallantry and glory of the American warrior. I'm simply humbled by such men, and I tip my hat to our chairman, Dan Raisin Kane, and all those Americans who stood watch last night. Our warriors are the elite of America, and again, President Trump has your back. No other country on planet Earth, and it's not even close, could pull this kind of operation off. And no other president has ever shown this kind of leadership, courage, and resolve, the most powerful combination the world has ever seen. As the President said, our adversaries remain on notice. America can project our will anywhere, anytime. The coordination, the stealth, the lethality, the precision, the very long arm of American justice, all on full display in the middle of the night. Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance, until they didn't and until he didn't. He effed around, and he found out. President Trump is deadly serious about stopping the flow of gangs and violence to our country. Deadly serious about stopping the flow of drugs and poison to our people. Deadly serious about getting back the oil that was stolen from us. And deadly serious about reestablishing American deterrence and dominance in the Western Hemisphere. This is about the safety, security, freedom, and prosperity of the American people. This is America first. This is peace through strength. And the United States War Department is proud to help deliver it. Welcome to 2026, and under President Trump, America is back. I'd like to welcome now our chairman, Chairman Raisin Kane, to give a few more details about the operation. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning. Last night, on the order of the President of the United States and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, as the President said, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice two indicted persons, Nicolas and Cecilia Maduro. This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal, an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake. What I'd like to do this morning is talk to you through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again. Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years of experience in hunting terrorists, and we could not have done this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA. We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years, many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise it involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination, all coming together in time and place to layer effects for a single purpose: to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining the element of tactical surprise. Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force. Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets. In early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise, and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel so, as the president said, they could be brought to justice. And as the president said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met and the president to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings. But when tasked with a mission, this organization does not quit. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern Time last night, the president ordered the United States military to move forward with this mission. He said to us, and we appreciate it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed. And those words were transmitted to the entire joint force. Over the course of the night, aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night. Thousands and thousands of hours of experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member was 49. And there's simply no match for American military might. As the night began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement officers, and began their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects provided by Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected by aircraft from the United States Marines, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area. The goal of our air component is, was, and always will be to protect the helicopters and the ground force and get them to the target and get them home. As the force crossed the last point of high terrain where they'd been hiding in the clutter, we assessed that we had maintained totally the element of surprise. As the helicopter force ingressed towards the objective at low level, we arrived at Maduro's compound at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:01 a.m. Caracas local time, and the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline towards their objective, and isolated the area to ensure the safety and security of the ground force while apprehending the indicted persons. On arrival into the target area, the helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force in self-defense. One of our aircraft was hit but remained flyable, and as the president said earlier today, all of our aircraft came home, and that aircraft remained flyable during the rest of the mission. As the operation unfolded at the compound, our air and ground intelligence teams provided real-time updates to the ground force, ensuring those forces could safely navigate the complex environment without unnecessary risk. The force remained protected by overhead tactical aviation. Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, assisted by our incredible U.S. military with professionalism and precision, with no loss of U.S. life. After securing the indicted persons, the force began to prep for departure. Helicopters were called in to exfiltrate the extraction force, while fighter aircraft and remotely piloted aircraft provided overhead coverage and suppressive fire. There were multiple self-defense engagements as the force began to withdraw out of Venezuela. The force successfully exfiltrated and returned to their afloat launch bases, and the force was over the water at 3:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with indicted persons on board. And both Maduro and his wife were embarked aboard the USS Iwo Jima. In closing, what we've witnessed today is a powerful demonstration of America's joint force. We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we debrief, we rehearse again and again, not to get it right, but to ensure that we cannot get it wrong. Our jobs are to integrate combat power so when the order comes, we can deliver overwhelming force at the time and the place of our choosing against any foe anywhere in the world. I am immensely proud today of our joint force and filled with gratitude to represent them here today. There is simply no mission too difficult for these incredible professionals and the families that stand by them and support them. As we stand here this morning, our forces remain in the region at a high state of readiness, prepared to project power, defend themselves, and our interests in the region. This operation is a testament to the dedication and unwavering commitment to justice and our resolve to hold accountable those who threaten peace and stability. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women who executed this mission. Their courage and tireless commitment to our nation are what makes us strong. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, Mr. President.
Well, I don't have much to add to what you've heard now, other than the following points. Nicolas Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States. He is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration, the second Trump administration, none of those three recognized him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we saved $50 million. And
make sure.
Yeah, exactly. But
don't let anybody claim it. Nobody deserves it but us.
But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, you know, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States, and the president addressed it. There's a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy, but instead he wanted to play big boy. And so now, you know, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think that the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody, but don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Is that a message for Cuba? Mr. President.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Mr. President.
You said that the U.S. is going to run Venezuela. So who's in power right now?
Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but that's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have. But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Mr. President, does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, you know, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. Could have gone very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole our oil.
Okay, guys. We can go on and stuff like that. But Russ, what was your take on that? I've got a couple of concerns with what the Orange Man said. What was your take on his part of the speech anyway?
Well, I agree with several of the comments that were in the chat. The man's probably been up for 30 some odd hours, and he was a little discombobulated at the start, and the mainstream media is going to have a ball with that. As always, you know, every time he flubs up something, oh no, he's not, doesn't have the capacity. Yeah, you know, but you know, they went 4 years and didn't acknowledge it with Biden, but you know, because it's Orange Man. I think the world now knows that we're not messing around, and
yeah, and I think you're right. I think Marco Rubio stated it correctly. He's a president of action. If he says something, he's going to do it. I think his speechwriter, I think he or she missed the ball on this one. One thing I noted, which he said this was an attack on sovereignty, bad choice of words to use there. I don't like that he gave up so much of the plan. Look, like Patrick Seven said, look, we know what the plan is. Don't make a sound clip for the upcoming midterms, dum-dum. What you just did right now was develop a sound clip that's going to have every Republican seeking a midterm re-election cringe. I don't think that needed to be done. It didn't have to be said. Yes, we know what the deal is. Yes, we know that we need to rebuild their infrastructure. Did he need to mention that we're bringing American oil companies in? I understand why he did that, because they were ousted out of that country after investing billions upon billions of dollars to develop the infrastructure in there, much like we did in Iran, much like we did in Iraq and stuff like that. But did it need to be said, Patrick? I think you nailed it. I think, yeah, we know what the plan is. We know what the overall outcome is, but it didn't need to be said out loud. It only makes Republicans looking for midterm re-elections cringe. And you will hear a lot of that over and over again. You're going to hear that in campaign ads. You're going to hear a lot of that. And I'm sure CNN right now is already blasting it out. So
I'm sure.
Yeah, that's where I'm at on that. Guys, so just to recap, Nicolas Maduro is in custody along with his wife, facing charges stemming from the 2020 DOJ investigation that basically labeled him as a narco-terrorist. But in the backstory, look, he brought this upon himself. Like Marco Rubio said, he had the chance to go live on an island with all his plundered riches and not face extradition, but unfortunately that's what he chose to be a big boy, and he effed around and found out, like Pistol Pete said. So guys, with that, I'm not gonna have anything else. Russ, you want to add, and then we'll call the ball.
And I went to CNN while you were talking about that, and their big headline on Venezuela: "We're going to run the country." They already picked up, but they did.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen.
They said proper and judicious transition. He didn't provide any more details. Well, of course he didn't, because they don't know what they are anymore, or yet. So.
Yeah, I suspect he's going to. I mean, I'm not even going to suspect who he's bringing in to run the country, who's going to be the intern government there. Guys, but just a note for the Trump administration, a note for Marco Rubio, for Pete. Listen, don't disband their military. Don't do like you did in Iraq. Don't get rid of the people that were in charge. Try to incorporate them into the new government if they're like-minded. If you disband the military, like what we saw in Iraq, you're going to have a bunch of military-age men without a job. And what do you think they're going to do? You're going to see another insurgency inside of that country. Don't be stupid. That's my final words, Russ.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. See us next. See us next Thursday night. Don't forget, we have Wes Hightower on, and we'll see how it goes from there. Thanks for watching the Eden Army podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, be safe. Can't be safe. Be dangerous.